Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm so excited to be here with you all again. Our first Sunday of the month. I can't believe it's September and I have like a sweater on. It's crazy.
That is surreal. I wore pants.
I hope you would wear pants out of the house.
I meant instead of shorts to church. My goodness.
Yeah, it's like gotten kind of cold here. It's going to be down to 40 degrees Fahrenheit this week in the evening. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, that's like real chilly. I'm very excited.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, at least we're thankful that we're not going to get hit by a hurricane. I was just reading about that right before we went live.
Are any of you guys in the path of the hurricane? Hurricane Dorian, right?
Yeah.
Any of you guys live in that path? Imani, me too. Hi. I hope you're all having a great Sunday. And today I was thinking, as well as sharing, if you're in the path of the hurricane, if you could share where you're from and also your favorite snack, because I found these at Hannaford. Snyder's now makes gluten-free pretzel rods, not just the little tiny ones, but like the legitimate crunchy rods, and they're fantastic. So for any gluten-free people out there, I didn't think I'd ever get to have these again. So they're amazing. Yes. So you should share where you're from and your favorite snack.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like the skinnier pretzels. The thicker, the thicker rods, they can get stale in the middle. And it's just too crunchy. Yeah, I prefer the skinnier pretzels.
What if you dip it in hot chocolate? I don't know. Do people do that?
Hot chocolate? You just made that up. No one does that.
Yeah, I just made that up, but I feel like it could be good. That. No, I don't like hot chocolate.
If I made you hot chocolate right now, you wouldn't do that.
I like hot chocolate, but if I did, I'd probably try it.
Why would you reference hot chocolate?
I don't know.
I don't know. These are the things we argue about.
We wonder. Oh. Cynthia is in Florida. Oh man, we will be thinking of you guys and praying for you guys. And Ember's from Northern Alberta. Very cool.
And also cold.
And also cold. Literally cool. Allison, that's weird. I hope it resumes soon. And Allison is in Ontario. Arizona, far from Dorian, and it's probably nice and warm where you are. And Imani is Southern Maryland. Very cool. Chicago and Greece and Russia. Cool. Favorite snack? Imani's like,
Okay.
Darina, Slovakia, Serbia, Scotland, Serbia, Virginia, Netherlands, Buffalo, New York. Hey, you're close to us. Oh, cool, Abigail. That makes me so happy. Oregon and the Czech Republic. Oh, Clara, my cousin was just in the Czech Republic this summer and she loved it. I think she was in Prague. So I think she's gone 2 years in a row now, actually, and taught at like English camps or something like that. I can't remember what it was she was doing there, but she had a really good time. Germany and Memphis. Oh, yes, 3-day weekend from teaching. Fantastic. He has a 3-day weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Sweden.
Oh, yeah. So, my sister's flying to Sweden tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, she's going to Örebro. I'm not sure I'm saying
I'm not sure we're saying that right.
Yeah, for a year. So she's excited.
She's so excited.
Hopefully we're going to go visit.
We're hoping to visit her.
At some point. Maybe next year.
So, let's see. I'll just say my fave snack is fresh fruit. Oh, my gosh. I love fruit, too. And fruit and nut mix. Oh, that's good stuff. Poughkeepsie, you're really close to us. Yeah. Manitoba, Canada. Colorado Springs, Sweden. Oh, you're close to there. That's so cool. Montana. Honey roasted cashews. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Las Vegas.
Those
cool.
Are good. Yeah, we recently had to become a nut-free house.
Yes.
It was very sad.
It's so sad.
Natalie is allergic to peanuts and tree nuts and coconut.
And cow's milk. Yeah. It's actually very difficult to eat now as I'm breastfeeding her. So,
and we have to be careful what she puts in her mouth because so many things are made with peanut oil, I think.
Somebody was eating nuts at a table and she like went up and put her mouth on the edge of the table where they had been eating nuts and she broke out and like hives all over her face within seconds. So that was fun times. So we have to carry an EpiPen everywhere. It's crazy.
Haven't had to use it yet though.
Thank God. I hope we never have to. It terrifies me. But so as you guys continue sharing where you're from and your favorite snack, we'll get started with any questions you have. So you can start sharing those in questions or things you want to chat about. And while you're doing that, I figured I would just share quickly something that God's been teaching me lately. And Rashonda, I hope she grows out of that too. Please, God, I pray for that every single day. Oh, Abigail, you're allergic to it as well. Well, you should email me some tips because I have no idea what to do with a nut allergy. I eat so many nuts normally.
Oh my goodness.
So, so something God's been teaching me recently, I'll share in like 30 seconds, is just gratitude. Like how many times I don't take time to stop and just notice everything that I am thankful for around me and just say thank you to God for it. Like so many times I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop and just like, oh, what's going to happen next? And just like letting my anxiety take over, even in moments when I could be so thankful. And so that's something that I'm trying to work on. It's just like taking time to say, I love this. Like, thank you for this, or thank you for this. And it's really helped a lot in like my mentality and my attitude and look out on life. And if you hear fussing in the background, it's because Natalie is down for a nap and she's kind of like whining herself to sleep. So
we hope she's going to sleep.
I really hope so. So yeah. Okay. Let's see. Gratitude. Yes. Esther Ruth. Yes, you are. Yeah. Sounds like you're on the same page there. Okay. So Morgan, there's this guy I met at work and he says he's interested in me. Ooh, very exciting. I love boy talk. He knows I'm Christian and I only date Christian guys, but he says he'd be willing to go to church with me. Do you think it could work? That's such a good question. The big thing is that you want to see that. So, okay, for someone like me, and it sounds like for you too, faith is like a really big part of my life. Like someone having a relationship with God is like one of the most important things that I would look for in a guy, because that's like the core of my life. That's how I make all my decisions. That's how I, like, the most intimate part of me. And I wanted to share life with someone who really got that. And so the important thing to consider is like, he could start, building a relationship with God, but you want it to be something he wants and not for you. And I think the danger is that a lot of times, I've seen this happen so many times with friends, like the guy will go to church with them for a while, but then kind of slowly stops. And because it was never for himself, it was for the girl. And so that doesn't always happen, but I think a lot of times it does. And that's like a real danger. Cause because just if that's something that you want, that's really important to you to have someone that shares your faith, then you want it to really truly be his faith and not something he's like trying to do for you. Does that kind of make sense? So I think it kind of depends on like what your relationship with God looks like. And if that is something that's at the center of your life, then you want to make sure it's at the center of his life too. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. I think a lot of times for people who don't know God, they think, oh, you're a Christian. Okay, that's cool. It's almost like, oh, you like football? That's cool. I could try getting into a little bit of football. And I think at least for Tiffany, and I know for me, loving God and having a relationship with God is so much more than like, oh, I'm a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. And
that's more than just like going to church and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. So did I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Okay. So so that would be my perspective on it. And I hope that helps. It totally depends on like what your walk with God is like, I would say. Imani, can she have Chick-fil-A? Oh my goodness. Can you? I don't know. Maybe she can't. We don't have Chick-fil-A here. We do. It's in the airport.
It's only
after
in the
you
airport.
pass through the security gates to departing flights. So the normal person can't get it unless they're leaving for a flight. How messed up is that? That is our only Chick-fil-A within hours of here. I'm so mad about it. Let's see. Emily, do you have any tips for guarding your heart and avoiding a false sense of emotional intimacy with the boy you're crushing on, when practically it's unlikely we'll ever be more than friends? That's an amazing question and something I really struggled with when I was single. I think the biggest thing is just kind of paying attention to where your mind is going. I think a false sense of emotional intimacy comes from mental intimacy. And so if you're always thinking far down the road, imagining life with this person, which is so easy to do and can be so fun to do, but that's what kind of leads to that emotional intimacy. That, and then acting like you're dating when you're not. Like if you're getting, physical, or if you're like every time you hang out, it's like romantic settings that are like very date-like. Those things I think lead to like becoming more attached and feeling like the relationship is more than it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think that's all very good. Yeah, I mean, I think it's almost, if I'm reading between the lines correctly, and I might be totally off, you're doing what a lot of us do, is you just sort of daydream about life with this person.
Been there, done that.
And
anybody else?
Sort of the
there,
reality, you have to sort of, the step one is kind of talking to yourself, be like, hey, what are you doing right now? Oh, I'm daydreaming. Why am I daydreaming? And is this a good thing for me to be doing? I think you have to sort of like confront yourself almost about that. And realize, this might not be a healthy habit. Sort of like, eating a whole bag of potato chips is not a healthy habit.
Yeah, like it's not in and of itself wrong. It just can lead to your heart getting more invested than you might want it to be.
Yeah, and even if you do end up dating a person, now you sort of have you have an idea of what this relationship is like in your mind,
or who he is when maybe it's not
and
who
you're
he
not
is.
really tied into the reality of just trying to get to know someone.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. Great thoughts. Let's see. Okay. Allison, any long distance relationship advice for seeing my boyfriend for the first time in over 3 months? Whoa, boundaries. That is so exciting that you're going to see each other again after 3 months. That's really cool. So how long have you guys been together? I'm curious. Like, I'm assuming you've seen each other and you've been together and then went long distance. That's what it sounds like, I think, from your comment.
I mean, without knowing so much of the background information, I would say if you're concerned about, oh my goodness, we're going to cross a boundary, I think it's good to talk about right up front. Like maybe, a lot of times when you meet up, you're like, you go to do something, you get a coffee, you get a meal. That could be a great time to talk. Hey, I'm concerned about us crossing a boundary. I really think talking about it, not knowing what your boundaries are, I think like that could be a really good step.
And setting yourself up for success. I think planning ahead is so key with boundaries, at least it was for us. Just being aware of like where you're spending all your time, like what time of day it is and who else is around. Like, not that you have to, I mean, we were alone together a lot, but we just had to be aware of like, okay, when it gets late in the evening, we're a lot more likely to like push the boundaries than at noon.
Right.
And
at
like
10 a.m. Yeah.
Right. Or if we're like in his apartment watching a movie in the dark with the lights off and no one else is, like his roommate isn't home, like that is a very different feeling than like
we're at a restaurant.
Right. Yeah. So just like setting yourself up for success, knowing yourself and like what helps you and him individually set yourself up for success. That would be my tip. But that's so exciting that you're seeing each other again. Long distance is hard, man. We did it a little bit and I do not miss that. No. Good for you. Riley says, favorite snack, nuts, fruit, granola, and miso. Ooh, miso. Have I had miso? I don't think I've had miso. What is miso? I feel like I've seen it, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah. It's on the tip of my tongue. Is it so? Yeah, I don't know.
Am I even saying
I'm not going to embarrass myself, I guess.
But I love nuts, fruit, and granola. I just can't eat nuts anymore, but granola.
So Emily says, if you like a guy, should you initiate talking to him first or wait for God to let him reach out first?
Great question.
I think I would say if by talking you mean literally talking, like, hey, how's it going? That's totally fine for you to do. That in and of itself, I think, shouldn't really be seen as, hey, I'm interested in you. I said hello.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some people would take it that way, but I think saying hello to people doesn't, or saying, how was your week, or what's going on with you?
It just kind of is what it is. You're just like saying hi. Yeah. And just think of it as like making a friend. If you're talking more about like saying, hey, can we get coffee? Or like, can we get ice cream or something like that? We actually have a video called, is it okay? Or can girls pursue guys or something like that? And
can I ask a guy out? Yeah.
Yeah, can I ask a guy out? That's right. And I guess in our opinion, that's totally fine. The reason being, like, people always say that the guy should pursue the girl. Like, I want a guy to pursue me. But James explains it really well. Like, pursuit happens over time. It's not a one-time thing. And so whoever says like, hey, you want to get coffee? That doesn't mean that he's not going to pursue you. It's just you want, and honestly, you want both people pursuing each other. You don't want it to be like a one-sided thing. Like if just the guys, I've seen like relationships where the guy pursues the girl so much and she like doesn't respond or initiate anything. And that's a horrible relationship. It's miserable for the guy and vice versa. So both people need to have like an equal pursuit of each other, just like we still do in our marriage. Finding ways to help the other feel pursued and loved. So, but anyway, so is it okay to ask him to like grab coffee? We think that's totally fine. Is there anything? Sorry,
I would just say, if you don't really know him yet, then I would just start by just kind of talking to him in a friendly way, because then instead of dating him in your mind, you're getting to know him as a person in a sort of larger group setting, which I think is really helpful.
I agree. Natalie is still just tossing and turning.
Poor baby.
My poor baby. She seemed so tired too.
Do you want me to go up and check on her?
I'm unsure. We'll give her a couple more minutes. Let's see. So Allison says, how can we approach moving on from past relationships that we've emotionally invested in, but they've not worked out? So like healing from that. That's a really good question. I think two things that come to mind right away for me are allowing yourself to grieve that. I know a lot of times that really hurts when you emotionally invest and it doesn't work out, and allow yourself to grieve that and realize like, that's hard, that hurts, that's sad. And like, that's okay to feel that way. And
it's okay to feel that way for months.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to be trying to figure out a time limit or time that it should take. It takes a while. And there could be part of you that is always on some level a little bit hurt, but it passes. And you know, God really does make all things new.
Yeah.
But it's in his own time. And a lot of times we don't know what that time is like, that timeline is.
And that's kind of the second thing I was thinking, was just like thinking about how God has been at work, like both through the relationship, but also like afterwards, like, and how, like, look for ways that God is using this. There's a speaker I heard once says that God hides treasure in darkness. And I definitely found that true in my life. Like, in the hardest seasons of my life are when, like, I feel like God has worked the most in my life. Does that make sense? And so, like, just be open to seeing like how God might be at work, and you might not see it for a while. It could be down the road that you'll be able to look back and see it, but be open to that. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's see. Char says, hi back. I've been friends with my guy friend for over 10 years, and he's liked me in the past before I realized I liked him too. How do I tell him I like him without ruining our friendship? That's a really good question. We actually have a video that talks all about that. It is called How to Tell When You're Crushing on Your Best Friend, or How to Tell Your Guy Friend You Like Him. Something like that.
Yeah, I think it's crushing on your best friend.
I think that totally answers that question,
tough.
Right? Yeah.
That is tough.
Yeah.
Because I do think that if you say that, it does, or it can change the dynamic of the relationship. But I think it's important to have it more as a conversation than a and I love you. Run away. It's more like, hey, you know, can we talk about something? I kind of feel like I'm wondering if there are
feelings
if there could be more here. You know, what do you think? I don't want to like jump into something that doesn't feel right for both of us. And if you have it, I mean, it might sound less romantic, but it's a much more adult conversation.
And low pressure.
And I feel like you've had conversations like that before
with guy friends
that have ended with, hey, I think this is might be one-sided and we're just going to be friends.
Yep. And we're still friends to this day. And yeah, James.
Yeah, I'm friends. Yeah, we're all friends.
We're all friends. So I don't think it has to ruin a relationship, especially if you're good friends and you do it in a low pressure way. So, but definitely check out that video when you're crushing on your best friend or something like that. Let's see. So Emily says, oops, now I just lost everything.
Oh, so many good questions.
I know. Do you see any specific ones as I'm scrolling? Because I totally lost where we were. Oh, here we go. Oh, she is still.
Oh, okay.
Should I? Maybe one of us should check on her.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can go up and check on her. Oh, this is a good question. What is your opinion about follow your dreams and God, and your husband will find you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I want your take on that too, though.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just give it really quickly. Okay. I think that you can never summarize a good philosophy of life up into a sentence or two.
Yeah.
That's just not a good plan.
Yeah.
And I do think that it is helpful to be looking / open. Hey, if you're someone who wants to get married, or if you're in a season of life where you're thinking, hey, I'd like to get married, I'd like to eventually get married, then I think you should make a plan for meeting people.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna go check on that.
Yeah, I think sometimes people say those like little one-liners, and they're very oversimplified, and they're usually something that maybe worked for somebody but don't necessarily work for everybody. And I agree with you. Like, I often heard like I wasn't supposed to be on the lookout for the person I was going to be with, but I don't agree with that at all. I think like a lot of it depends on your personality and what you want to do, and it's so much personal preference. But I think if you want to meet somebody, it's okay to like go out of your way to meet people and like go to new places, hang out with different crowds of people, different friends, like do online dating. We have a video about that if that's something you're comfortable with. Like, I think it's totally okay to be looking to meet people, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I hope that encourages you. But the whole follow your dreams thing, I think like if there's something that God has really put in your heart to do, then don't like put it on hold until you get married either, because there's so much of life that we can do. Like with the things in my heart, like I did them before I got married, and now that I'm married, I still am able to do them. And like So, if there's something that God's put in your heart, like go for it, pursue that too. But that doesn't mean you can't also be looking, have your eye out, be putting yourself in places where you could meet someone. So I hope that helps. Emma, greetings and love back to you. And, oh, cool, from Nigeria. Miso soup. Oh, that's how I've heard of that. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I don't think I've had it, but I'll have to try it. Hello from Hungary. Let's see. Fangirl, I'm going to save your question for when James comes back because I want his input on this too. Man, what's going on with my baby girl? She's so sad right now. Dorina says, do you have any advice on distance in your relationship with God? I feel betrayed by him and taking stability from me like a puppet in his hands. Wow. Yeah, that sounds really hard. So one thing I would say is I recommend that you watch my video when you're disappointed with God. It talks him about this, but I think the biggest thing I would say is like, share that with him. Like realize that I think there's this temptation to hide our feelings. Like when we feel disappointed in God or betrayed with God, there's this temptation to like hide that and like not want to admit that that's there. I don't think that's healthy. I think it's important to bring that to God and share that with him and say, Lord, like, what is going on? Like you look at even, like David in the Psalms, like what's happening? Like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And that's okay to like bring that to God because that's the important part, is to like share that with God because that honesty builds intimacy with God. And so I would encourage you to just kind of bring that to God and to people you trust and not to beat yourself up for feeling that way. And just give it some time to keep bringing that to God over time. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything you'd add there?
No,
Okay.
That's good.
Fangirl, I wanted to save her question for when you were here. My boyfriend is considering witchcraft. What can I do to get him to go to God instead of witchcraft?
It's tough to really know what's going on in the situation. Like, why is he considering witchcraft? Is he depressed? Is he bored? Is he just a curious person? Yeah, I mean, and certainly a lot of people have said, hey, witchcraft is something that you don't want to be messing with. I would agree. The powers of darkness and the devil are very real. And a lot of times witchcraft, among other things, like, substance abuse or, abuse of social media, can really draw out some very powerful and negative forces of evil. But I would just say, express your concern to him. Say, I don't feel like this is just like, rooting for a new soccer team. This is serious.
Yeah.
You need to decide, for your relationship, obviously you value it, but at what point does his experimentation mean that he's going to be putting distance between the two of you? And I think you need to be honest about that you're concerned. So I guess I would really start a conversation. Most people don't like to be talked out of something, but I think it's important to just share, hey, I have some current concerns and I care about you. And and try to get, invite him into Christian community as well.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you're a part of a church and there's other young people or people your age at that church, that you can say, hey, come be with us, come join in our community. Having that community is really a lot about what Christianity is about.
And I think someone else said to be praying for him, and I would agree with that too. Because at the end of the day, like, it's so important to say something. I feel like your answer was so good, but at the end of the day, like, we can't talk anyone out of something, like you were saying, like where our hearts go, like that, where his heart goes, like you can't force that or whatever. But so I would say, like, be praying for him too a lot. And you can even ask other people to pray for him as well. And for you too, because that's a tough situation. Yeah. And don't be afraid to set healthy boundaries. If you see him getting caught up in this and you say, I can't be in this relationship anymore, like, that's okay too. Like, don't be afraid to like stand up for yourself, I guess I would say, like, and to make sure that you're going to be in a healthy place. And if the relationship seems like it's not a good thing anymore, that's okay to say. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. I say, does that make sense all the time? Because I feel like you can like misunderstand what people say so easily. It's tough. Yeah. Okay. So Maddie says, tips during hard times of singleness. Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I would say generally is develop other parts of your life. I know for me, sometimes I think, oh, I have nothing to do to have fun. And as I think about it, I think, well, I haven't invested a lot of time in, you know, like finding things that I enjoy.
Yeah, that's true.
And so that I think is something that's important to do, just even is your own development as a person. You know, find things that you enjoy, because even when you're married, like you're going to need to find things that you do by yourself or with another person that you really enjoy, things that help reset you, things that give you energy, things that help you reflect. So I would start finding what those things are, try some new things, and you know, focus on that, because I guess the nice thing about being single is you have some extra time to devote to you know, hiking more or reading more.
And not that you won't have time for that when you're married, but like especially once you have kids, like life does change pretty significantly. But I would say I think that's really good advice. I would say also to not feel guilty if it's hard. I have a video called How to Enjoy Being Single. Spoiler alert, you don't always have to. I would recommend watching that. And those are just some things that I learned. Like I used to feel so guilty when it was hard being single, and sometimes it is hard. Like different seasons of life like are hard. And I think with relationships, like I found that when I was single, it was hard. And when there are times when I don't have a lot of close friendships, that's hard. And like, it's okay if it's hard, I would say. Like, don't feel guilty about that. But that video, How to Enjoy Being Single, does have some things that help me personally during the hard times of singleness. Let's see. Tracy, I'm good. How are you? Let's see. Josefa, am I saying your name right? My question is, Tiffany, how did you know your singleness period was just a period in your life and not your calling for your whole life? I don't think, well, I didn't. Okay, so there's two ways of I'm thinking about this. Number one, I did not feel like it was a calling from God because I didn't have a desire for it. I feel like when God puts a calling in our hearts, he also gives us a desire for it. But I also, on the other hand, didn't know for sure that I was going to get married. And that's the thing. You don't know what the future holds. And just because you don't have like a calling to singleness doesn't mean that you're going to like get married at a certain age or anything like that. Like life also just happens. Like Ecclesiastes says, time and chance happen to them all. And I think I didn't know I was going to get married, even though I didn't feel like it was what God had called me to. Does that make sense? So yeah, but yeah, and talk about that more in the video. Does God want me to be single forever? So anything you want to add to that?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. How would you suggest, Briley says, how would you suggest sharing the gospel on an anti-Christian campus? That's a great question.
I would say through real relationships with people. I mean, I would be in prayer. You know, God, who do you want me to be a witness to, and you know, focus on having real friendships with people and let the light of Christ shine through that friendship. And I would say that's kind of the basic thing. But also be in prayer. It may be that God might want you to do something else as well. To start a prayer group, to start a Bible study, but I don't know. Like there's no way I could speak to God's timing or purpose in that. So I would be in prayer about that.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. It's easy to think like sharing the gospel means I have to always be saying something, and it is important to share things that you say, but I think it's really important to really have real friendships, like James is saying, so that people know that they're loved, and not just because you want them to become a Christian, you know, but because that's how God loves us. It's unconditional and it's always, and we're supposed to be an example of that. And so I think taking, like, breaking it down, so it's not like how to share the gospel on my campus. It's more like, how can I love people here? And then through that, share about Jesus with them, both through my actions and my words. I think that makes it more manageable in a sense. And just asking God, like James said, for opportunities, even for opportunities in relationships with people. Like, God, who is on your heart? Who do you want me to reach out to and spend some time with? And praying for them. Let's see. It's me says, my guy best friend is hinting that he likes me. Ooh. And I know he does through other friends. I'm not looking for a relationship and I don't want to ruin our friendship. Advice. Okay, check out my video. That's how to let a guy down without hurting him, or how to say no to a guy without hurting him. I can never remember the titles of these videos.
Yeah, we should brush up on those before our next live stream.
But yeah, it's like, I think it's how to let a guy down without hurting him. That talks about this question, which is a really good question. But I think the basic thing I share in that video is 3 steps. The first being like, let him know that you are honored that he thinks of you in this way. Like, wow, I'm so honored. Like, thank you for sharing this with me. And then share very honestly that you're not interested. Because if you say like, right now I'm not interested, he's probably on the road.
How about next week?
Yeah. But to be clear, like, I don't see you in that way, or I just see our relationship as a friendship, and then end it with a compliment. But I just want you to know, like, you're an awesome guy. Like, I really love hanging out with you and respect you, or whatever it is, you know? That was a poor compliment.
Yeah. And also sometimes if friends are talking to you and saying, oh, well, you know that Billy likes you, it's totally appropriate to say, that's too bad. I really don't like Billy in that way. I just don't.
And they could get back to him that way.
Yes.
Yeah. Good point. Let's see. Okay.
I want to talk about this one from CM.
Okay.
In every semester break, I lose so much of the courage and independence that I gained while being at university. At home, I can't stop being the child of my parents.
Oh,
much love from Germany. Thanks for writing in.
That's a great point.
I felt that way all the time.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Oh, my goodness.
Because you like grow up in your family, and each person has like a role they play.
Yeah.
And then you come back home and you just kind of fall back into that role.
Yeah.
And that's
you feel
so
like you're
normal.
regressing as a person.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
It is.
Oh.
And I think it's normal. I think I still do that a little bit at like family things. And it's just like, it's ingrained. That's always been the role you play in your family. And I think as you continue growing and maturing over time, like that will get better and better. Like it's a lot less for me now than when I was in college, but it takes time and it is normal. So don't beat yourself up about that. But we get at how frustrating that can be.
I think, you know, for now, I would say find times when you can have me time, even when you're home on break with your family. If you can just go out to go on a run or a walk or a shopping trip, and you could just be alone. I think that will help you. But just realize it's normal. Very normal.
So I think maybe we'll do 2 more questions. She's playing very nicely, but still awake. So I'm going to go get her up. This was a non-nap, but that's okay.
Those happen.
At least she's playing nicely now. So we'll do 2 more questions. Okay, let's see. Oh, I like Justine's. How do we know the difference between when a guy has a flaw or a red flag? Ooh, that's good, because everybody has flaws. You're never going to find a perfect person. We won't be perfect either. But how do you know if it's a red flag?
I would say 1, try to talk with him about the issue. So in other words, if you think he drinks too much alcohol or has an anger trouble or isn't responsible with his money, then you would say, hey, you know, I have this concern. Can we talk about it? You know, someone who's teachable is going to respond they might be a little embarrassed or affronted, but, you know, they're going to generally be able to have a conversation. Okay. And like bring her down?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But someone who is immature and defensive is not going to respond well. And so that conversation in and of itself may sort of turn it into, oh, this is something he's working through, flaw, or wow, he really blew up when I said that. That's much more of a red flag. And then I think step 2, once you've had the conversation, or at least it may be a series of conversations, an initial conversation, you can talk to a trusted mentor, someone who's older and wiser, and say, look, this is what I'm thinking or experiencing. Wow, that was fast. They're almost back. So I guess that's what I would say.
Yeah, and I think too, a lot of it has to do with like how it would affect the health of your relationship and his health as a person. Like there are some things like money issues that are a really big deal if someone's really irresponsible and not growing, or not being willing to take someone else's advice. Things like that are going to really affect the health of your relationship down the road, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
That's
Isn't
true.
this the cutest outfit ever? I'm obsessed. Baby jeans, baby onesie.
Oh my.
Are you going to smile?
Maybe.
At yourself.
Maybe. Do you see yourself?
Uh-huh.
You totally do.
Isn't she so cute? Thank you. I'm impressed you remember her name. I'm always like, wow, people are like amazing. Yeah.
Oh, we're starting to get a small. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. All right. And let's see.
So we can even do a few more questions if you want, because.
Oh, okay. All right. No, well, I think. So this is a good one. I'm a girl. I grew up a fatherless girl. How do I prepare for marriage?
Oh. I think having people. So I think if you can build, like hanging out at different friends' homes and seeing like what they're. I'm trying to think what I want to say.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I think that's so tough to grow up without a parent. There's no question, and on some level, God's desire for all of us, whether we have a great earthly father or a lousy earthly father or a non-existent father, is for us to see him as our father and as our, not just our father, but as our daddy, the person who loves us and delights in us. Mm-hmm. And so I think, focusing on developing a relationship with God, and I think we just did Tiffany just did a video on that.
How to see God as Father.
Yeah, I think that's so important. But also getting to know Christian guys in your church. No one is perfect, mm-hmm. but just sort of like, and this is true even if you like grew up without brothers. It's helpful to get an idea. Well, what are guys like? Is it normal that they play video games? Is it normal that they like farting? These are questions you might have. Mundane things, serious things. But I think, getting to know godly families is I think always helpful, no matter what your family situation, because as you grow older, you'll realize, wow, there were some things that were kind of screwed up about my family. And sometimes seeing other mm-hmm. families can help you realize, oh, maybe the way that we expressed our feelings or didn't express our mm-hmm. feelings wasn't healthy. Yeah. And that might not be good.
Because pretty much every family has something, at least, if not
mm-hmm.
many things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's a really good answer. She loves her baby monitor. She's like obsessed with just playing and talking to it. It's so funny.
She talks to a lot of things.
So cute. Okay, so maybe we'll do some more questions now. What do you think?
Oh, okay.
Do you want to pick? You can pick them. I can't see them very well from
here. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Emily asks, advice for when I find that a boy I respected is actually not as great a person as I thought. I know he's going through family stuff right now, but he just let me down. It's a platonic relationship. Yeah, I mean, that sounds disappointing. And I think like Tiffany said earlier, it's okay to grieve that and be like, wow, I was really hurt by that. I really don't think well of this guy right now. And acknowledge that that's how you feel. But also, give it some time too.
And I think it's really cool that you were able to see that, because a lot of times we can get so caught up in who we think someone is that we don't see who they really are. So I think that's really awesome that you were able to see the things that weren't good. I know in past relationships I've been like so focused on what was good because I wanted the relationship to work that I like ignored the red flags. So that's really cool that you paid attention to those.
Mm. Oh, and hello, Rachel is watching from Kenya. That's really cool. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And here's one from Jenna. How can I trust a guy when you grew up with parent issues? Yeah, and I guess that's kind of similar to the one that we were just talking about. Is there's always something that you can point to and be like, oh, my parents or all my siblings or all my church, like this thing really screwed me up. And yeah, probably on some level it did. And but I think you do have a choice to not see it as this huge roadblock, but as something that you are going to work through in a healthy way. But I would say that, trust is built, respect is given. You want to respect people, but you build trust over time with someone. Mm-hmm. And when someone does something that hurts your trust, rather than saying, and this relationship is over, I think it's important to get feedback from someone you know and trust, and someone who knows you, hey, this happened. I feel really hurt. I feel really betrayed. What's a good way to respond?
And there are times when trust will be lost in a way that the relationship is over. Like, for example, abuse,
yes.
things like that.
Absolutely.
I would also say, I think that struggling with parent issues, like, there can be so much brokenness from that. That can just be so hard. So I would also encourage you to talk with a counselor or a mentor and just kind of have someone to like process that with, so that you can start the healing process from that, because that totally can play into future relationships, both not only romantic, but also like friendship and other work relationships. Just knowing if you can trust people. And I think the more healed you become over time, the easier it can be to navigate those relationships. Not that it will be easy, but that you'll be able to see a little more clearly what are like healthy responses versus reacting out of pain in relationships. So I hope that makes sense in some way. But so I would encourage you to find like a counselor or mentor, someone you trust to talk about that with. So guys, thank you so much. And I love seeing these other, like Sophia, Brianna, it hurts now, but you'll heal my dear, ask Lord to help you get over him. Like, I love seeing your like thoughts for each other and like your advice for each other. It's so beautiful. So thank you. And thank you to all of you who are commenting on Natalie. Isn't she so adorable? She's like all broken out on her face because we're still figuring out all these allergy issues and it's overwhelming sometimes. Pray for us. And just like, I don't even know what to do sometimes. So, but yeah, anyway, thank you all so much for coming and sharing. And I'm really sorry if we didn't get to all your questions this time, but every week we try to get to some more. So, or every week, every month. So we'll see you again next month in October, first Sunday of October at 4 p.m. Eastern. And I love you guys, and we will see you next month. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Isn't it cute? Thanks.